Whose season was more disappointing, the San Diego Padres or the Los Angeles Dodgers? For me, and I'm speaking as a Padres fan, for me, the answer is simple and it's easy. It's the San Diego Padres. And pretty much it all comes down to who made the postseason and who didn't. Both teams definitely should have made the postseason, and both teams were expected to be at least in the NLDS. Maybe they were going to be facing each other like 2022, but who made the postseason? The Dodgers did. Who didn't? The Padres did, right? Like the Padres had more of a disappointing season than the Dodgers did. Now, as a Padres fan, I was laughing. I was having a great time seeing the Dodgers get swept by the D-backs and Lance Lynn and Clayton Kershaw just giving up a ton of runs. Clayton Kershaw not even being able to go 2 outs. Like, yeah, that was hilarious. And Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman choking in the postseason in this series, going 1 for like 21, I think. 1 for 21. Betts didn't even get a hit. Like, yeah, that was hilarious. Just like Dodger fans would have found it hilarious if the Padres were in the postseason and the Big Four sucked in the postseason, or Joe Musgrove and Yu Darvish gave up a bunch of runs and only went a third of an inning. They would have loved it, right? So that's just what it is with this rivalry. Some Dodger fans are going to say it's not a rivalry, it's blah blah blah, but you care a lot about the Padres stinking. Like that's what I see a lot on social media. That's what I see sometimes in the YouTube comments as well. But so it's just that's just what it is about sports. You love your team and you hate your rival. You love to see that team lose, right? But more disappointing. Both teams were disappointing, but the Padres were more disappointing than the Dodgers. I mean, the Padres were the team that we thought. I think a lot of people thought. I think Padre fans thought it. I think some Dodger fans thought it. The Padres were supposed to be a better team than the Dodgers in 2023. They were the team that got better on paper. They were the team that beat the Dodgers in the NLDS. They got to the NLCS without Fernando Tatis Jr., without Xander Bogaerts. Now you're getting a full year of Juan Soto, a full year of Josh Hader. And you look at the Dodgers, they let Trey Turner walk, Justin Turner. They let a lot of guys go. Like it was a different looking team. Cody Bellinger was out there. I know he wasn't as productive as he was like 2018, 2019 with the Dodgers, but they let guys go. And look what Bellinger did with the Chicago Cubs. And also considering during the year, sure, Manny Machado was hurt and he was dealing with the elbow issue. Were there other injuries? Jake Cronenworth, Joe Musgrove, Yu Darvish? Yes. But those guys, now Musgrove, he didn't make very many starts. But Darvish was there pretty much the entire time that the Padres were still like in it. And they still had Waka. I know he was on the IL a little bit. Lugo was on the IL a little bit. But it's not like they had Julio Urias ripped from them, and that's because of what he did. Let's be clear. That's not an injury. That's just because he made a stupid decision. He's made multiple stupid decisions, so I don't think he should get another opportunity from a Major League Baseball team. That's a totally different topic, though. But like Kershaw, obviously, like he was supposed to be like relied upon, or he was being relied upon as like the ace of the rotation, and the Dodgers were not going to go deep with Clayton Kershaw being relied upon. This isn't 2012 anymore, you know, where, the Dodgers like Tony Gonsolin, Dustin May out, Walker Buehler out. That's 3 guys there. And then Arias, that's 4. You have to bring in Lance Lynn. You have a rookie starting game 2, where if the Padres would have been without Musgrove. They would have been without Darvish, sure. But correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I think the Dodgers had their starting rotation was out for a longer period of time, like the big guys there, longer out for a longer period of time than the Padres were. I forgot to mention Gavin Lux, who was going to be their starting shortstop, and they had to bring in Miguel Rojas, and they were having Mookie Betts play the infield. Like they dealt with a lot of injuries, and they still were able to win a lot of games in the regular season. They still were able to win 100 games and finished 18 games ahead of the Padres in the standings with some of the adversity that they had. With a lineup, now that we look back in the postseason, yeah, it was probably a little top heavy, right? They were still able to win 100 games. The Padres, they had all this talent. You had Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr. and all those guys up on the stage at FanFest before spring training even started, talking about a parade, Like, there was higher expectations, I think, for the Padres than there were for the Dodgers in 2023, and the Dodgers flat out made the postseason. They won the division, and the Padres finished 2 games over 500. That's it. And going into the year on paper, I think a lot of people thought that the Padres had more talent on paper than the Dodgers did. And take out what the expectations were. Like, bottom line, sure, must have sucked for Dodger fans to sit there and see their team get swept, but at least they made the postseason, and that was 3 games. The Padres, they had 162 games, and they finished 82-80. They didn't win 4 games in a row until the month of September. They had guys performing well below their, like, career average. It was just a bad year. Did the Dodgers have articles written about the manager and the GM and their terrible relationship? No. Did they have articles being written about the team leader, Manny Machado, in the clubhouse? And not just Manny, but like the culture issues in the organization? No. And that's probably because the Dodgers went and won the division. Like, the Padres, if they would have won the division, would those stories have been written or would they have gotten as much attention? Not so sure about that. But like the bottom line is the Dodgers won something, and the Padres did not win a division. They did not get a wild card spot, no postseason berth when this team had a $250+ million payroll. Like, that's unacceptable. And maybe I'm biased and I'm saying that, because I'm a Padres fan, I think that the Padres season was more disappointing. And maybe Dodger fans, if they have, their Dodger fan YouTube channels, they will say that their season was more disappointing. But Padres fans, we can clown on the Dodgers and laugh that the Dodgers didn't win a postseason game and their stars came up really small and Clayton Kershaw got 1 out, only 1 out in his postseason start. We can laugh about that. Like, it was fun to watch, no doubt about that. But our season was worse. It was more disappointing for sure. When you don't make the postseason, and no disrespect to like Skip Schumacher and what the Marlins are building, but they make the postseason and the Padres don't. You got the Arizona Diamondbacks making the postseason, and the San Diego Padres don't, with a plus 104 run differential. Watching this team this year, run differential doesn't mean anything, but that's for those that watch this team every day. But still, it's a bad look, right? Arizona negative 15 run differential, Padres plus 104. Who made the playoffs? The D-backs. Yikes. Who has more star talent on their team? Who was talking about a World Series at their fan fest earlier this year? Padres or the D-backs, right? Wasn't the D-backs, and they're the team that made the postseason. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments. For me, no doubt. Both teams were disappointing. Both teams, for sure, did not meet expectations. What matters the most is what happens in October, but the Padres didn't even get there. They didn't even get to the postseason. They got to October because they were playing their final regular season game against the White Sox in Chicago, but that's the only October baseball they got. So, no doubt about it. We know the answer to this question.